Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome, Bruchim Abayim, to our regular webinar series here at HaChavra L'Haganat HaTeva, the Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel. Welcome, everyone from all over. I'm Jay Shofet, as usual, coming here, unfortunately, from my phone, not my computer, here in Tel Aviv, in my home. Have a really interesting, exciting, maybe even emotional and dramatic webinar tonight. We'll have some behind the scenes look at the lives of some raptors. I don't know much of the plot line for tonight's webinars yet. Tonight's webinar yet. I will be excited to see what we have. Our Raptor Cam project is something that's been going on for several years now, and we hide cameras where they need to be so we can check out the secret lives of raptors, and their breeding and their mating and their caring for their kids and all kinds of stuff. So excited to hear about that tonight. Welcome everybody from all over. Yeah, please say hello in the chats. Hi from Vancouver and Ashkelon and all kinds of places. Oh, in Paris. Hello, Nicole. It's great to see you all from Norway and Maryland, Toronto and Great Neck, LA. Really happy to have everybody here tonight. It's it's been an emotional couple weeks in Israel. Very emotional day yesterday with the return of four of our hostages, and yeah, we're living in exciting times. That's for sure, one way or the other. A lot going on in the United States at this moment. I think Canada's having some political issues, so we're going to just take a respite from all that tonight and talk about and learn about birds. So I really hope that everybody's going to enjoy this tonight. Hi everybody from Long Island, Philadelphia, Haifa, Ben Shemin, and Kensington, near Berkeley. Hi from Santa Fe, and of course Toronto and Maui. Wow, what time is it out in Maui? Good morning. Yeah. Wales. Hello, Jackie. I don't usually see people from Wales on here. So there's a country. Is it Wales a country? Hi, Peter from Colorado. I'm going to be in Colorado, Peter, and I'm going to be writing you in early March. And if anybody here is from Colorado and wants to meet in Denver or South Florida, I'm going to be in South Florida end of February. Let me know. But really, really happy to see everybody here, and we're going to get going in just a couple minutes. Our Raptor webcam webinar, our Raptor Cam, our little cameras that we hide and place in crevices and appropriate places where we will hear all about the process and and of course the content of what we capture on these cameras. Wow, hi everybody from Berkeley, and it's 8 a.m. in Maui, and the whales are here. I'm glad to hear that. Malaya Dumim and Berkeley and LA, and yeah, our hearts are still in LA. I hope everything is okay there. Gosh, the news is going so fast. I haven't seen it in a couple days, but hope everybody's safe. I know not everybody has been, but you know, we're hoping that California and Southern California recovers quickly, and it's finally raining. Oh, that's great to hear. It's hopefully there'll be quick recovery. Nature will recover fairly quickly. We think. Don't know about the rest of the areas of the city. But hello from Sweden, and volunteer programs during Pesach in Israel. All kinds of programs. Not so much from SPNI. Not sure if we can use any volunteers then, but I'm sure if you can get in touch with us later, we can hook you up with at least a visit or something. But if you're looking for, oh, my phone is not visible here. If you're looking for volunteer work, there's all kinds of sites that are still offering all kinds of volunteer work with people who've been evacuated and farmers who need help, and all kinds of things, making packages for soldiers. So all kind of volunteer opportunities available, that kind of stuff in Israel. So anyway, I think we're what, a couple minutes, 4 minutes after the hour now. So, and wow, almost 100, over 120 people here already and live on Facebook. So wow, let's get moving. I'm so happy everybody's here from four corners of the globe. Our Raptors come to us from a couple corners of the globe, I believe, and we'll hear about that as well. With us tonight are a couple of doctors, um, our kind of doctors. Dr. Yoav Perlman, he's the director of BirdLife Israel. That is the birding department, actually, of SPNI, but also the Israeli chapter of a very strong and large international organization that protects birds and advances birding all over the world. And with us also is Dr. Gilad Friedman, who is works with SPNI as has been running this Raptor Cam project. He's a birder and a scientist, and we're happy to have him with us as well. So, and Elena, who many of you know, who's a longtime director of the JBO, is with us in the back office from her home in Jerusalem. Hi, Elena, and she'll be taking questions and answering them with everybody if you're writing questions online or in the chats, and feeding them to Yoav and Gilad at the end. I will say goodbye after I finish this introduction. I want to say thank everybody for supporting us, really, in these times and all times. We had a good end of the year here, and both in terms of our support from you, but also in terms of some of the stuff that's been going on here. We're looking forward to a challenging but successful and hopeful year here in 2025 as well. And no better way to kick it off than seeing these birds and getting some insights about nature protection through them. So thank you very much, Yoav. Thank you, Gilad. Thank you, Elena. We will enjoy the next 50 minutes. Please ask your questions in the questions and answers or in the chat if you are, and we'll get to them at the end. And thank you all very much. Appreciate it very much. Have a great evening. And Yoav, thanks.
Thanks, Jay, for the introduction. Great to see here so many people, lots of familiar names. So great to have us all here. So tonight I will talk about our project. It's our 10th year running this project, the online webcams, looking and protecting our precious birds of prey. This project, as Jay mentioned, is being managed and run by Gilad Friedman. He's the project manager since its inception. The project is predominantly a collaboration between SPNI and the Israel Nature and Parks Authority, and we have a few other partners joining as well, but these are the two main bodies operating the project. It's a very heavy PowerPoint, so I hope that it works. Okay. So as I said, we're entering our 10th year now. We've been operating this project since 2016. Every year we have a different setup of cameras, studying closely our birds of prey. Many of the birds of prey breeding in Israel are under threat. Many of them are threatened, different threat status, but almost all of them are under different threats. And because they are the supreme predators in many parts of the country, they represent the sort of the holistic situation of our open spaces, of our nature reserves, of our natural systems. And we do everything we can to study them and to protect them. And this project is one of the many activities that we do together with the Nature and Parks Authority to protect our breeding raptors. So basically, this project works during the breeding season. Before the breeding season, we climb up or climb down into the nests, place special cameras that broadcast day and night, 24 hours. Very, very high quality, unique views of these birds. And it's a project that's picking up from year to year. More and more people are engaged, more and more traction. and it's great to see this project developing from year to year. Next slide. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. Oh, okay, I'll quickly introduce our main stars. Long-legged buzzards, we started operating the cameras from the first year in 2016. They're always very, very active. It's a very successful pair that we've been monitoring for many years now. They bring lots of different types of food, lots of action. They're always big stars, and we're very happy to be able to show them every year. They're like our hot shots every year. Um, Short-toed eagles also, they're together with us since the start. Short-toed eagles, they're snake eaters. They're very, very large eagles. They're migrants, so in winter they migrate to Africa, and they're returning to Israel actually any day now. And very quickly they start building the nest, repairing it, and start feeding. And we have big dramas every year. In 2020, this male got electrocuted, and eventually it couldn't withstand its injuries, fell off its nest. I picked it up. We took it to hospital. It had to be euthanized, and the poor female waited and called him. He never came. Abandoned the nest, and the pine marten eventually took the egg. So amazing drama in this nest. Eagle owl, our largest owl, similar to the great horned owl. They're active, of course, mainly at night. Very, very powerful, very impressive, beautiful, beautiful eyes. The chicks, when they hatch, they look like these fluff balls. Um, Here they're bringing fruit bat to the nest. Um, and they don't miss an opportunity to grab anything around them. Very, very powerful animals. Um, Griffon vultures, Eurasian griffons. They breed in the Negev. Um, we have also dramas with them. In 2019, one of the pairs that we were looking at, the female collided with a power line and died, and the male, the widow male, needed our support to feed the chick. So with one of the elite units in the military, using a drone, we fed the chick until it eventually fledged. Um, Egyptian vulture, another one that we follow in the Negev. Um, it's a globally endangered species, critically endangered in Israel. Very small population, very beautiful birds. Again, they're in Africa now, heading back maybe towards Israel. They will arrive in the next few weeks. We saw since we started in 2020, lots of action in their nest here, and a long-legged buzzard trying to steal the chicks, but the mother fended it off. And in 2022, we started broadcasting from a Bonelli's eagle, another critically endangered eagle. Very, very beautiful, very special. Soon you'll see how powerful our cameras are. You can see this is a pair. They're also very, very active hunters. They catch all kinds of different prey items around them. They specialize in uh, doves and pigeons. They're very quick, very avid. Look at how much we can zoom in from a distance. This is the female incubating. In this pair in 2022, sorry, they had a lot of dramas. The female laid infertile eggs. We extracted the eggs. The eggs didn't hatch. We replaced the eggs with dummy eggs, and then two chicks that hatched in one of our reintroduction programs were brought back into the net. They developed a parasite, Trichomonas, and a lot of drama until eventually they fledged. It was amazing to follow all of that action online. Okay, so our project goals and objectives. The overall goal is to improve the conservation of our top predators, the raptors, understanding that they represent the importance, the sustainability of our nature reserves, of our open spaces. We are all the time trying to better understand or to understand better the threats to our breeding raptors. And whenever we can, we intervene and we provide like direct conservation on the spot in the scene. The second objective, which is just as important for us at SPNI, is to increase the public awareness and the support for the conservation of raptors, for the conservation of our open spaces, our nature reserves, our natural ecosystems, using outreach and education. Come on. Okay. What's every time we place a camera is that every camera teaches us so much. Every camera opens up a new world of interactions, of drama in nature. And it's really giving us more motivation to be innovative, to find new locations, new species when we can, to learn more about the conservation of our precious raptors. For example, we talked to you about the drama in the Bonelli's eagle nest in 2022. Without our camera, that breeding would have been another failure. It's a pair that we've been monitoring for quite a few years, and every year they failed and failed and failed and failed. And in 22, because of the intervention with the camera, that pair for the first time managed to fledge two chicks. So it's really the direct benefit of the cameras that's making a difference for these raptors. We use the surveillance to detect parasites, Trichomonas. We'll talk about that in a minute. It's a parasite that hits chicks, and with the cameras we can detect the Trichomonas early and treat it. We manage to prevent disturbance if we're there on time. And what's important is that it's not us, it's not Gilad who's there 24/7. We have tens of thousands of viewers watching our cameras online. And when something happens, they contact us through Facebook or through other ways and let us know, hey, something's happening. There's disturbance, there's a fire, there's someone trying to steal the chicks. You must intervene now. And that way, we managed to save raptors a few times. We use the footage from the cameras for scientific purposes as well. For instance, the long-legged buzzard, as we said, they're very, very active predators. They're very diverse predators, and we have been monitoring them for 9 seasons now, and we see all of the food items that they bring. We analyze all of the footage, all the images, and we understand a lot about their ecological needs. We can see ecological processes happening in front of our eyes. For instance, the slow decrease in the availability of different rodents and reptiles, and slowly, more and more pigeons are becoming part of the diet of these long-legged buzzards. And it's a big problem, and we're dealing with that problem not only where our camera is placed, but nationally. It's a big problem for many of the breeding raptors in Israel. About 80% of chicks nationally of long-legged buzzard and Bonelli's eagle that were tested had trichomonas. So this parasite, it's transferred from the pigeons that are brought by the parents. It's a parasite that develops sort of bulbs or lumps inside their mouths until they either suffocate or starve. With early treatment, they can be treated, early detection, sorry, they can be treated with our nests. So we rappel down to the nests and treat them in the early days when we just notice that something's happening. But in other nests that we don't monitor, there's high mortality of trichomonas, mainly from the increasing proportion of pigeons that are becoming part of their diets. As I said, we use our cameras for live detection of threats and disturbance. And with our cameras, with the help of our supporters, we managed to prevent fires. We managed to prevent poaching incidents. We saw chicks jumping out of their nests too early because of disturbance, and we managed to save those chicks. So those cameras are very, very, very useful for direct conservation. A bit about our outreach. We have been developing our outreach since the start, and it's growing from year to year. Actually, in our first year in 2016, this amazing incident of an eagle owl that snatched a chick out of the nest in the middle of the night. It's our most viewed video to date. Look at it has really gone viral. This is from only one website or one user on YouTube that used our video on his, almost 1 million views of just this single video. And overall, probably this video had many tens of millions of views worldwide. It really is a viral video. It's worth checking it online. Come on. Okay. 2024, we'll talk about it in a minute. It was an unusual year because of so our online reach was a bit lower in 2024, but in 2023, it was our the previous year with full capacity, full engagement. All the cameras were operating, and we reached tens of millions of people around the world. The Facebook page has 66,000 followers. Look at the reach of some of our posts are just so popular, especially on Facebook, but also on YouTube, on Instagram. And it's really going up from year to year when things are happening normally. Look at the amount of engagements of people who actually liked or commented or shared. In 2023, it was 120,000 engagements. It's really, really, really impressive. Yeah. Oh, okay. We keep maintaining and developing our education programs. So across Israel, in dozens of schools, there are education programs focused on those online cameras. The teachers in the schools, they show on a big screen our online cameras live, and the kids see the action online. We have developed special educational programs to support the teachers when they're teaching about ecology, about the environment, about the importance of conservation. And those programs, the education programs, are becoming more and more popular every year. As I said, 2024 was an unusual year. Because of the war, it really, really affected our activity and also the Israeli Nature and Parks Authority's activity. I assume that many of you attended our webinars with Dan Alon, with Liron Shapira, and others talking about the implications of the war on Israel, on the SPNI, on our nature. And it was certainly a very, very difficult year for many respects. Our project was seriously impacted by this because of the war. Our budget shrank, and we could operate only 2 cameras rather than 6 in 2023. We did what we can. We wanted to make the best of the budget that we did have, and we broadcasted from the long-legged buzzards. We had a special year, very early egg laying, 2 chicks fledged out of 4 eggs laid. I'll show you a quick summary video of this year. I hope you can see the video. Look at the quality of the cameras from year to year. We upgrade our cameras, and really it's phenomenal how high the quality is. So this is from 2024. Four, at last first we thought 3 eggs, eventually 4 eggs. The female incubated. On the 17th of March, the first hatching. Look how tender the female is. The second chick hatched on the 20th of March. This is the wing of a quail, a migratory bird. Okay, slowly, slowly. And eventually those 2 chicks fledged. Okay, so these were our long-legged buzzard. You can actually see the hatching here live on the 20th of March. That was quite popular within our followers and viewers when this happened. Okay. So we broadcasted from the long-legged buzzards throughout the season, from when the eggs were laid until the chicks fledged in July. Throughout the entire season, it was an exciting season, as always, with the long-legged buzzards. And we were very happy that there was no trichomonas this year. The short-toed eagles, they returned from their winter quarters, started building a nest, or redoing one of their old nests. Sadly, there was one failure. So the first breeding attempt failed. They found another nest. They moved to a different nest. They started working on the nest. They tried to lay eggs, but that failed again. And in the beginning of March, we understood that we have no short-toed eagles. It should have been a long season. They start breeding late, early, but they end quite late. The chicks fledge in August. So we decided to shut down the short-toed eagle cameras, and we shifted the available budget to the griffins in the Negev. We had 5 nests in front of our cameras. The widow, you remember we talked about the widow from 2020, remarried and had a successful breeding season. One of our pairs had a second brood that went all the way to October. I'll show you a video of this season. Here we go. Okay, so the 1st of May, with the available budget, we went online after hatching. Okay, we had the cameras up before that, but we didn't broadcast, so we started broadcasting only in May. We have all of the egg laying and the brooding, and the first chicks started hatching. And there was a lot of action because there were 5 nests in front of us. Some of them showed very well. Eventually, one of the chicks jumped out of the nest too early, about 3 weeks too early. We had a search team in the middle of the night trying to find it. It sort of crash landed in the middle of a big cliff. Foxes tried to snatch it at night, and it took the parents quite a long time to sort of reconnect with the chick that fell out of the nest. You can see him quite helpless there on the cliff face. But eventually the parents did find it and start. Here you can see the fox thinking of what to do. Eventually the parents fed it a few days later, and it fledged. Eventually it managed to fled successfully. Yeah, so it was a very dramatic season. We have already started preparations for our next season. It's really important to mention here the work of all of our enhanced team, all of the people, many of them from the Nature and Parks Authority, many of my colleagues and team from SPNI, many dedicated volunteers that help us set up the system every year. That work is done during December and January because we want to be ready when the raptors return to breed. We need to work on the power. We need to work on the communication. We need to replace the cameras sometimes. And it's very, very hard work. Gilad, as I said, he coordinates all of this work and leads it successfully every year. And now we are setting up for our next season. We need to see what is going to happen with our budget. Currently, our budget is not larger than last year, so we are not sure yet how many cameras we'll be able to broadcast. At least 2, but we hope to do better than that. We want to show more cameras. We want to show more raptors. And for this, we need your support. Part of the budget every year comes from your contributions. We raise funds for this project in Israel, but also outside of Israel. And we're already raising funds for the 2025 season. And if you are able to contribute, that would be very, very appreciated. And thank you in advance for every contribution. Yeah, so that's the end of this section. Again, special thanks to all of our partners, all of the project team, the people working in the field, the people working in the office to facilitate all of this work, to broadcast it online. You can find your cameras in the in our website in birds.org.il. The cameras are there when the season starts. in a few weeks' time. We have our Facebook page and our Instagram page, and you're very welcome to come and join and watch the cameras online. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and we'll be very happy to see you there and answer your questions. And that's it from me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Yoav. There's a couple questions. One person asked if the
Yeah.
is transferable to humans.
As far as I know, no, it isn't. No,
Yeah, I think
it's specific to birds.
but it is transferred from bird to bird, so from bird
Yes, it is exactly from pigeons. That high proportion of pigeons carry the parasite, and it's transferred through the food to the raptors.
And someone also asked about the birds are finding fewer rodents. Is that because there's fewer rodents around, or is it possible that the birds are older and not able to catch as many because of their age?
No, we are seeing it as an indicator for the overall state of our natural ecosystems. So our open spaces are shrinking, not far from where, for example, the long-legged buzzard um, site where we do the filming. It's not too far from areas there's urban sprawl that's encroaching on the open spaces, on the natural habitats. So the available places for the long-legged buzzards to go and hunt, they're shrinking. And also we're seeing all kinds of different processes in our natural environments, including climate change that's affecting, for example, rainfall. This year, we're having an extremely dry winter. January, I think, was the driest in Israel on record. And with less rainfall, there's less germination, plant germination, and then less rodents. And we're seeing a long-term decrease in rainfall and also an increase in the variability from year to year and how the rainfall falls. So these are some of the processes that are affecting our open spaces.
We have two different questions. One is what is the cost of operating one camera? And then Martin is asking about figures of raptor populations in Israel.
Okay.
If you have that off the cuff.
Sure. So in 2023, when the project was in full capacity, 6 cameras, the cost of the project was something like 150,000 US dollars, more or less. I would say that every camera, there are different cameras and different setups. On average, it's about $25,000. More or less. So that's what it takes. So it's the camera itself, the infrastructure, the communications and the power, the broadcasting itself, the bandwidth, we need to pay for that, and the management of the project, the development of all the content that eventually you read on our website, on Facebook, on Instagram. All of that is part of the costs of the project. We are very proud that we've been able to develop this project from year to year and keep it up and running. And we really want to continue to do so in the future as well. Regarding raptors, so to date, the rarest raptor that we have camera on is the Bonelli's eagle. The numbers change from year to year. Last year it was a little under 20 pairs nationally. It's critically endangered in Israel. I think this season started not very good, and I think that this season we'll have maybe closer to 10 breeding pairs nationally. It's really a tiny, tiny, tiny population, highly threatened. Um, Griffins, there's something like between 40 and 50 breeding pairs nationally. Egyptian vulture, more or less the same, maybe 50, 60 pairs. Long-legged buzzard, maybe a bit more, but recent studies in different parts of the country, Gilad and other researchers are working on them in different parts of the country, and there's quite a population decrease in some parts of the country, and probably there will be uplisted to a higher threat category in our next red list update. Short-toed eagle is a bit more widespread. I would say something like 150 to 200 breeding pairs nationally. What else? Eagle owl, maybe a bit more, 250 breeding pairs. So these are some of the species that we're following.
And do we get any funding from the World Wildlife Fund or any other international bird funds?
Not yet. Currently, we have sort of internal funding from SPNI, from the INPA, plus what we manage to raise through our fundraisers. These are the main sources of income. If anyone here has ideas on how to approach some of those foundations, we'll be happy to receive contacts. It could be very useful.
Just a couple last questions. Paula wants to know if the vulture recognizes its chicks once it fell from the nest by sound, by voice, by sight. Um,
I guess that both, and probably more than that. It's not quite clear how the adults recognize their chicks, from others, but I'm sure that they can notice very minute differences in how they look and how they move, maybe. Um, I know that vultures do actually have good olfactory senses, but I don't know if they use that to detect their own chicks. But anyway, when that chick fell out of the nest, the parents were aware of that all the time. I guess they followed it visually, and they were in touch with it vocally, but it took them a few days until they found the right way to sort of descend down halfway into the canyon to be able to feed it.
and how long does the chick stay dependent on the parents for food once it's fledged?
It really depends on the species. Some species become independent very quickly. Others could stay with the parents for 2, 3 months, maybe. I think the vultures stay for quite long with the parents. The Bonelli's eagle, the birds that you see in this photo here, the chicks become independent quite quickly, maybe a couple of weeks or 2 to 4 weeks after fledging. They're quite independent.
Okay. Um, we were asked how are the cameras placed, and what's the main cause of death of raptors in Israel?
Okay, so the cameras are placed with, we screw them into a cliff face, or we hide them inside a tree if the birds breed on a tree. Every nest location has a different method. Some of the cameras are placed from a great distance, like we showed you with the Bonelli's eagle from, and the vultures. They're placed from a distance of, well, a few hundreds of yards away. Um, some cameras, like the long-legged buzzard, they're in locations that are few meters away from the nest. So the quality is very, very high in these nests. Regarding conservation of raptors, so We talked about the sort of the large scale processes with the pressure on the open spaces, more and more disturbance, more and more development. Climate change is affecting everything here in Israel, but there are some direct causes of mortality that SPNI is working hard to try and mitigate for. One problem is energy infrastructure. Um, Power lines are a serious problem. We told you about the vulture in 2020, that one of the pair that was on our cameras that collided with a power line in the Negev. So we're working with the Israel Electric Company to better protect the power lines from bird collisions. There are markers that can be placed on the power lines to reduce collisions. So we have a project working on that, but still there's a long way to go. The same goes for electrocution. For Bonelli's eagle, that's the main cause of mortality. Huge, terrible mortality rates for Bonelli's eagle, the young birds. In 2024, 13 young Bonelli's eagles that were tagged, that they had the transmitters on their backs, were electrocuted. It's more than half of the productivity of last year. Electrocution is a big, big, big problem. Again, we're working together with the electric company, with the Nature and Parks Authority, to protect the pylons from electrocution. But the work there is too slow, and we're losing our breeding Bonelli's eagles. Poisoning is a big, big, big problem for the scavengers, especially for the griffins. We have had in recent years a few very, very dramatic and painful poisoning incidents. In 2023, I think we had a terrible, terrible incident in the Negev that killed 14 breeding griffins. It was a horrible, horrible event. And again, we're working with the Nature and Parks Authority and other agencies to try and stop these horrible poisoning events, but it's a big, big, big challenge. Disturbance and shooting is a big, big problem, especially outside of Israel. Many of our birds travel outside of Israel because Israel is so small. They fly regularly outside of Israel, where many of them get shot, get trapped in countries like Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Yemen, different places that our birds fly to, and many of them are killed in those countries. We know all of this because we have, in a joint project with the Nature and Parks Authority, every year, very, very, very massive effort to tag birds in the nests. All of the nests of Bonelli's eagle in Israel we are familiar with. The chicks get tagged. The same goes for griffon vultures, for golden eagles, for our rare falcons, Barbary falcon and lanner. All the chicks are being tagged with satellite tags, and we follow them as they wander around the Middle East, and we try to learn about the causes of their mortality and try to reduce those causes wherever and whenever we can.
Thanks, Yoav. Hang on a second. Somebody.
But I do want to end with a little optimistic note, because we've been talking about the big conservation challenges that we have here. Indeed, the conservation challenges are great. However, I do believe that with good, effective conservation efforts, we can make a difference. We can improve the situation. Certainly, the Nature and Parks Authority, their efforts are sustaining the griffins in Israel. Without their efforts, there would be no griffin vultures here in Israel, but due to their really heroic efforts, we still have those amazing birds gracing our skies, our cliffs. and we can still see them. And I am hopeful that with good work together with, for example, the electric company and other agencies, we will manage to, for instance, solve the electrocution problem, the collision with power lines. It's a solvable issue. It can be solved, and I hope that will provide some good news from that front in the near future.
Thank you, Yoav, and thank you to everyone who's joined us tonight. There are so many questions or suggestions. Please feel free to email us and continue the conversation with us. We're always happy to hear ideas and to answer any questions. And someone is asking finally, are there any Tiolim to see them? Preferably not on Shabbat. We are offering a series of English tours once a month, and some of them will be specifically to see raptors, not specifically the ones on the webcams. We don't want to disturb them, but to see the vultures and some of the other breeding birds down in Avdat in Sde Boker. So we will be advertising that in the next couple of weeks. And of course, there's still space on the Eilat Bird Festival in March. Thank you, Celia. And that is the height of the migration of many of these birds. So come and join us. And yes, there will be some stuff going on during Pesach as well. So look for us, look for the newsletters and follow us on Facebook, and we will have all that information out to you soon. And you can also email us. Thank you. Jay, you have a closing words?
Just thanks everybody very much. Thank you very much, Elena, Yoav, Gilad. Very interesting. I think your crowd wants more birding, more birds on the camera. So we'll do this again and take that into under advisement. And but as Elena's posted many links and places where you can find some of the archive photos and I hope a highlight video. Do we have a compilation video
So
of
Jay, maybe we can send out a newsletter, a follow-up newsletter with some of the links.
happy to do that.
I'll
But I
prepare
but
everyone.
but I want a highlight video, breeding highlights of 2024 or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Cool.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us. Stay warm if you're in the freeze zone, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you,
All right.
everybody.
Thank you very much.
Lila Tov, so I'm Tovim.